All right, guys. Here's kind of the plan. It's gonna be kind of short, little video. Mostly just want to update you guys on the plan going forward. I'm sure you guys all got that email from the college board on Friday, right, announcing that all of your exams would be online, right? So from what I'm looking at and all the information they've released, um, the AP Physics 1 exam, right, will only cover up through simple harmonic motion. So yes, while we do want to cover, sound and electricity, we're going to kind of save that till after the exam and focus from now until whenever those online exams are on just reviewing all of the basics. So Friday, I'm thinking we'll go through graphing, maybe your basics of kinematics, and then we'll just move from there. Um, basically having mini lectures on everything we've covered through simple harmonic motion. So again, sound, waves, and electricity, they're telling us are not going to be on the actual exam itself. Yes, we still do need to cover it, but again, let's prioritize our review first, and then once the exams are done, we can quickly go through that material that remains on sound, and electricity is very short, very simple. Um, so a couple of things to think about with that. I should probably turn on my mic. That would be genius. So again, sound, waves, electricity, not on the exam. So we're just going to focus on a review. And once we are done with the review, and you guys have taken the online version of the test, then we'll cover those two remaining units. Now, one thing to think about with this exam is it looks like it's going to be 45 minutes long online. And that means that chances are it's probably going to be only 3 questions. Right. So it's going to be entirely free response. It's going to be 3 questions at max, I'm thinking, if they're giving you only 45 minutes. Um, and again, those topics will range from kinematics to simple harmonic motion. One thing I'm looking at, and this was a huge concern of mine, was how do you take a physics free response test online? Right. I mean, unless they're giving you a dashboard that has all those symbols for you to easily, place them in there. But it looks like there is an option, or there will be an option for you to do it handwritten, take a photo of it or scan it, and then email or and then submit it like that. Um, so that would probably be the route I would recommend to you guys. Doing it on paper, taking a photo. Just one thing to be mindful about when you do take that photo, if you're like taking it with a cell phone or something, make sure that you take a real clear photo, that there's no blur, there's no room for them to say, oh, I couldn't read this because it was blurry. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Let's see what else about this. One other thing that I am seeing here on the College Board's website is, let's see, where was it? In the AP classroom section of their website, which you guys should all have access to, because that's what you had to get into to register for the exam. They've released some free response questions that were only intended for classroom use. So they were like secured free response practice questions. They've released those for digital release. So I would go on there at some point, as we go through our review, maybe go to the AP Physics classroom and take a look at some of those release free response questions. I'll also be getting on there, and I haven't really had a chance to experiment with it very much, but I'll get on there and kind of goof around with it and give you guys updates. And that would be a good thing to come to those those online Zoom tutorials with, for questions about, some of those free response. I'm also going to be providing some more difficult questions to you guys here as we go through the reviews. Again, haven't had a chance to fully adjust to the new information. Now they are telling us that that you guys should be expecting by April 3rd, so next Friday, an email from them detailing actual test dates and everything, and how that the exams will work. So keep an eye out for that, because again, as of now, the only information we've been given about AP Physics 1 is that it tests from kinematics to simple harmonic motion, and there will be two test dates, neither of which have been assigned. And they've only told us that it'll be all free response. So, Joshua, as far as I know, it's going to have the same 1 to 5 scoring system. It's just going to be tougher, right? You're not going to have the multiple choice to help. And, you're only going to have 3 free response instead of 5. And, what I've read, from other AP teachers and stuff, is that typically when they're going onto that online format, they're trying to make the questions fairly tough to where you can't Google things, or collaboration with a friend wouldn't really help. So I can be honest here, I don't anticipate this being very easy. But I mean, again, if all of the scores are very low, that just means it's going to be a low threshold for your 3, is what I'm thinking. But yeah, as far as I know, they're still going to have the same 1 to 5 scoring system. All of my free response questions on the test, or at least 99% of them, especially as we moved out of kinematics and like towards other, your more difficult units, those all were old free response questions. So everything you've seen on a test is a former free response question from an AP Physics 1 or AP Physics B test. No, 90% of them. A few of them, some of those conceptual ones, we tried to mimic the free response as best as possible because we didn't have many of those available to us. But yeah, the majority of the free response questions that you've seen are all based off of old questions. The same with those a lot of those tough Tony questions. I'd say a good 70% of them are all old AP-B or AP1 questions that were rewritten so that you guys couldn't Google them. But again, I honestly don't know what to expect with these questions because, again, they're going to be making them, I think, a little harder, a little tougher, for kids to collaborate and work out the answers, right? So I can't really give you too many details there because I don't have them. But again, what I would do is, and I'll be sending you guys some questions also. And again, once I get a chance to go into the AP classroom and take a look at it, I'll be suggesting free response questions that you guys should take a look at. And you can always, I'm pretty sure it's public to students as well. If you go into the AP courses and exams, let me see if it's public. Go down to physics. Yeah, if you go to the AP Physics 1 course page for on AP Central, right? I'm not even logged in right now, and publicly available, you can look at the questions from last year's free response. And yeah, they don't give you answers, but you can at least take a look at those questions. So that might be helpful as well. But again, I'm going to try to get some resources here to you guys within the next couple days. And again, I'll take a look at the physics classroom to see if there's anything that I definitely want you guys to take a look at. Anyone else got any specific questions? And again, until April 3rd, we're kind of just up in the air. We don't know when this is going to be. And so that's kind of why I want to focus on review now. That way, if the early test date is earlier than expected, we've had our chance to review. So okay there? All right. So I'm also going to be emailing out to you guys a kind of a summary of what's going to be on or what's eligible to be tested on in the that free response test. And I'm going to try again to put together a list of resources for you guys, and I'll send that out to you. But yeah, if you have any specific questions, you can ask them now. Otherwise, that's really all I've got for today. Just wanted to keep you guys, in the loop as far as what to expect, as much as we can. Spell out those expectations, because again, really we're kind of flying blind a little bit ourselves. And I'm also going to try to get out a key for those 2 problem sets that I gave you all. But again, don't worry too much about the sound stuff. We'll circle around back after the exams and deal with the rest of sound and waves and electricity then. For now, I'd just say let's just focus on reviewing. And again, Friday morning, I'll start the the review with graphing and kinematics. If we had to be experts on one topic, what do you think would be the most important topic? Okay, those are both good questions. Dennis, if we had to be experts on one topic, that's tough. I mean, because again, a lot of it is luck of the draw. I would make sure that you are confident in energy and forces for sure. Those 2 are really some of the key building blocks there, and that's probably the 2 units that I will be spending the most time reviewing with you guys, because if I were to gamble, I would say that those 2 units would be key components in more questions than some of the other units, I'm thinking. Right, because energy you can always tie in with simple harmonic motion. Forces, that goes into every single unit we've done. So yeah, those 2 units I would say would probably be the best to focus on. But again, it's luck of the draw. You never know what kind of what topics they're going to pick. Let's see. If there are only 3 questions, do you think they'll try to include all units in the questions? I would say, yeah, there will probably be at least 2 to 3 different units present in one question. And think about some of the free response questions we've done this year, right? You may have had to use kinematics to find acceleration, use net force to find something else, and then maybe used work energy theorem, or work equals force times displacement to find something else. So yeah, there's going to be more than one uh, unit covered in each free response question, just like every question we've seen this year. And again, I would recommend maybe go look at the release questions from 2019, and you can kind of get a idea of what they gave you guys last year. Question 5 was electricity, so obviously that's off the board, but yeah, you'll definitely have multiple units present in each free response. But again, I wouldn't freak out, guys, because every single kid taking this exam is in the exact same boat as you. So no one's at an advantage, no one's at a disadvantage. Everyone's getting the same, the same short end of the stick as everyone else. So you just gotta do what you can with it. Do your best. That's all I ask. Anybody else got some burning questions? So again, what I would probably do between now and Friday is probably try to see if you can get into AP Classroom. Maybe just kind of take a quick peek. Um, let's see. Do you think the exam is going to be graded more harshly, like since there's less to grade each run? Well, that's just the nature of the beast. Since there's less to grade, it's gonna each point will be worth more. And like you take a look at your typical free response questions, they're anywhere from your short ones are 7 points, your bigger ones can be between 12 and 15 points. So let's say you've got a short one of 7, and let's say you've got a mid. Let's say you got a 7 and you got two 15s. Let's just throw that out there as our um, point distribution. If you got a 7 and two 15s, that's 37 points total, right? So each point is worth almost 3%. So I would anticipate them grading the free response just as they always do. So make sure you're showing as much work as possible. And if you don't know something, let's say there's a question that has to do with energy, but you have no idea how to do it. Just write down the sentence, energy is conserved, and move on. Right? You get a point there just for doing that. So again, the key here isn't getting all of the points; it's getting as many points as humanly possible, right? If you get more points than the average amount of kids out there, you're going to be in a good situation. And you don't have the multiple choice questions either to help, balance out the free response either. So if you did by hand, how are they going to make sure you did it in the 45-minute period? That I have no idea. That's actually a really good question. I didn't actually think about that. Because me and Mr. Oliver were talking, and we were talking about how ridiculous it would be if you had to do it by computer without having buttons for every single variable. And then he managed to dig up something on their website that said you can send them a photo. Let me see if there's more information there. All right, so you'll be able to take your exams on any device you have access to, computer, tablet, or smartphone. You'll also have the option to write your responses by hand and submit a photo. But that's all they've given us. I don't think they fully have a plan yet, or they're still tweaking it. So hopefully they tell us more on April 3rd, next Friday. Hopefully they give us more information about that, because that is a very good question. And I know some, I don't know if this is the way they're going to do it, but I know there are like camera proctored exams that some places use that kind of just watch your eyes through a camera, which is kind of creepy. Um, but I have no idea what the College Board is planning as far as test security and everything. So I think it'll be something we'll just have to figure out on April 3rd. What if you do end up doing it in 45 minutes, but then your internet messes up and you're unable to submit it? That's another good question. And those two things will be something I'll look at specifically when they release more information. And if they don't address it, then me and Mr. Oliver will bring it up to them. Because they've got to have some contingency option in case the internet goes down or something. But again, I think they're still trying to figure it out. That's why they're not giving us anything until April 3rd. Because I have a feeling that all of those are questions they're asking themselves right now. Any other questions? And again, if you do think of some other questions, you can always pop into the Zoom chat tomorrow and ask me. Based on your personal feeling about this situation, do you think we'll be out of school for longer than the... Here's the thing: if they're canceling the STAR test and they're putting the AP exam online, yeah, I think we're going to be out longer than the anticipated return date. Just based off of those two things being either canceled or put online, that's fairly a big deal. So again, if I were a gambling man, I'd say it's going to go longer than expected. But again, that's all speculation. We don't know nothing until we get more information. All right, well, guess I'll end that here. Again, Friday we'll start review. And if you got any questions in the meantime, again, tomorrow between 2 and 3, I'll be on Zoom. So drop by, ask a question if you got one. I know there's a lot to chew over here. But yeah, I'll be putting together a list of stuff for you guys to take a look at. And, I'll be messing around with that AP Classroom, seeing what they're offering up there. So Yeah, we'll get you all ready for the exam in time. So I will see y'all later.